that first day that you were in that
Oof.
situation, that you found yourself, what was the mindset on that particular day? I always ask that question to people that have been in.
So the first day in, or
Yeah, first day in.
the first day in, man, for me was it was tough. It was tough. Just kind of, taking in the environment, soaking it up. You hear all these stories about when you're locked up, kind of what happens when you're in those situations. So I just had to just kind of process everything. I had several edibles on the way in, so I wasn't all the way there in
Yeah.
that moment. But I just locked in.
Yeah.
Found myself, in my cell with Big Mike, 448 F4 at Coleman,
Uh-huh.
and just went to church that day. Went out and watched some basketball. People came in, they blessed me, with shower shoes, pillows, some clothes, different things like that. It was during a lockdown, so there was no commissary and things like that. So, guys kind of put a bag together for me and things like that. I didn't shower or shave the first day. I just kind of soaked it all in, and then the next morning I was like, okay, let's snap out of it. Let's get into your routine. Let's figure out how you're gonna do your time, because that's very important when you're behind.
Right, right. What was your biggest takeaway being in that situation, the time that you served?
The biggest takeaway for me is that, man, there's some good men,
Mm.
some good people going through some unfortunate situations. You'll learn a lot about people. And I keep saying that because, like, it gets really quiet in there. You don't necessarily have access to communicate to a lot of different people. A lot of people might not write you or come and visit you and things like that. So you really have to, adjust and adapt to the environment that you're in. You have to learn the rules and the regulations, you know what I'm saying? The unspoken rules that go on in that situation. So you have to respect those things, because a lot of guys had a lot more time than me, right? And they're gonna be there a lot longer than after I leave.
Right.
So for me, man, I just wanted to get that routine together, get with the right people, carve out my little niche, and work my plan that I had for myself.
Got it. Got it. I know you and Nevin met at your halfway house.
Yeah.
How did that come about, and how did you guys meet?
Well, there's different stages of incarceration, and the halfway house is a good step back into society. You go there from when you do your time and you find work and employment. You get to go see your family on weekends if you have a job and things like that. But it's you're still incarcerated nevertheless. It's very very strict, somewhat strict, more strict sometimes than being for me at Coleman. But it was a good re-entry step for me, because I got to do some therapy, some additional therapy.
Sure.
Got to be on the court every day working with NBA players and high school and college players. So I got to get out every day. And then I got to go home on the weekends and spend time with my wife and my kids and things like that. So I think it was a great step into getting to, where I am now.
Sure.
It's the probation part.
Sure, sure. So what was your first impression when you met Keon?
Well, when I was there, we do a weekly I was already on house arrest, so I'd been home for probably close to 4 years already, 3.5 years. And I saw Keon, and right away, I know most ball players from this area specifically, and I had remembered his situation. But in all honesty, when I approached Keon, I look at I'm not like a stargazer or athlete, like I looked at Keon like another one of my alumni.
Fayette University.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Graduating class of 23 or 4, whatever it was for him. And so, I'm Andy, you've gotten to know me, so I'm really big on redemption, man. And I know, what I've been through, and I've gotten to know him a lot better since that time.
Yeah.
And he's a good guy.
Right.
And he's got a good heart, and you could see he takes his accountability for whatever situation he found himself in.
Yeah.
And man, I'm just really happy to be part of, his redemption tour while I'm going on mine.
Right.
I'm a few years ahead of him.
Right.
In that regard. So I've really touched the ground already, and he's going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm positive of it.
So you mentioned prison reform, and I know prison reform is very dear to your heart. Where do you what's your overall thought on how prison is handled now and what do you want to see changed in the system?
Well, I mean, prison is prison, so it's not supposed to be, a good situation.
Hmm.
But I think you can make, some of the best growth opportunities are in opportunities of adversity. So I think the programming could be better. I think just the environment, the cleanliness, the water situation, being able to have access to good, clean water, not having mass punishment. If somebody does something and then everybody's locked down, you all suffer from it. So just little infrastructure things that could be better, and then programming again, because there's a lot of guys in there with a lot of potential. There's a lot of guys in there who need certain, need help along the way, right? Need some type of rehabilitation, need some type of skill set. And so you want to maximize that time. I think they're really, really missing the mark on, giving guys legitimate opportunities to grow. And so they're better for society when they get out.
Yeah, one of the biggest takeaways I've had, and I've gotten close to Nevin in the past, 6 months, 8 months,
Mhm.
whatever the time frame is the alumni are very smart.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of smart
Very
ones.
creative. Very creative.
And they've done a lot of great things. It just they had a bad moment and they got themselves in a bad situation,
Yeah.
and that's they had to go serve time. But a lot of smart people. I didn't realize that. And the other part is the reentry back,
Right.
where they're setting you guys up for failure. I'm seeing it firsthand
Yeah.
in his situation.
It's really
Tough.
It's despicable. I echo Keon's sentiments identically. It's not about rehabilitation. It's about like punishment.
Mm.
And how do you avoid recidivism
Mm-hmm.
when you're just letting guys come back to choke? Like, you can't even get a job, or not everyone finds themselves in a special type situation with a number of opportunities. I'm fortunate in that regard, but like the fact that like you have to go through what you have to go through to get a job. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Like how do you've already been punished? Like, can we come back now?
Yeah.
Like, what's the get back level? And
Like in your situation with the restitution, and I think you have
Yeah.
restitution as well, is how do they want you to pay back the victims if they're cutting every single possibility of you getting a job and making the money back?
like, what my feelings are. We've spoken about it personally since we've known one another. I'm really, really passionate about this, and it's not like all of a sudden I found God and that's how I feel. It's despicable, right? It's despicable, and change has got to be there, or else like, prison's a business. It's become a business.
Mhm.
It's an American business at this point in time. We're like the number one incarcerated by miles
By miles
over
versus
the
other
countries.
countries, yeah.
And it's just, and I'm sure Keon would say the same thing. I would never have cared unless I went.
Right.
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 How would I have known?
Right.
Yeah.
Nor would I have cared.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of had an idea because of my wife's dad's situation, and I've been very open about it, and she's very open about it as well. And I started to understand a little bit of what was going on, and he got bad representation. He got thrown 30 years on conspiracy. They didn't catch him on anything. Just got the book thrown at him. So, but getting closer to your situation and really going into the weeds and seeing how things are being handled, I'm like, this can't be our system. There's
Oh,
no way this can be our system.
Listen, it's criminal for
Yeah.
real. No pun intended, but it's not a sustainable model to get people to rehabilitate. You're just coming out more pissed off.
Right.
And I've seen some really, really, I echo Keon's sentiments identically. There's some really great guys inside.
Yeah.
There are some good guys inside, man. Like, I've made better friends inside than the guys I grew up with my whole life.
Right.
Yeah.
And to this day, they all know it.
Some of that's because they're at their lowest
Right,
moment,
and-
right? You
yeah.
get to see who they truly are and what the character is made out of, right?
And-
in that situation.
And there are some really, really sharp guys.
Yep.
Like, really great thinkers who made bad decisions and found themselves in that situation. And I've lived it, and I'm a product of it.
Right.
I've seen it.